Hello everybody, ArkAngel Death here. So, we're gonna keep going with my interview series, which I left very abruptly last time. So, today's subject of interest would be here, my Lord and Savior, and everybody else is on his fan club, Lord Pravus. How are you today?
I am doing very well. How are you?
Great! So, thank you for actually accepting to do this interview.
Happy to do so.
I was very pleasantly surprised that you actually even answered a small-time YouTuber like me. Even though I am your fan.
Well, that means you have a special place in my heart, so I have to answer you. Come on.
Aw, I'm touched. Okay, and that's with the shenanigans. Okay, so, as I explained in one of my emails, I will be asking you a series of burning questions that I just made up a couple seconds ago. I am sorry about that. No, I'm not.
I hope I get them right.
Okay, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty, shall we?
Sure.
Question number 1 would be, how and why did you start your YouTube career / channel?
Mostly just to goof off. So, when Star Wars The Old Republic came out in 2011, I got really into the game, and for those of you who have played it, it's an MMO with a very strong RPG elements to it, with a lot of story cutscenes, and my thought at the time was, well, if I ever want to go back and watch the story and how it progressed with some of my characters, I will need to record these different cutscenes. And I used YouTube, honestly, as kind of a cheap archiving method, because I was just a poor college kid with a terrible laptop with no hard drive space. So I recorded all of the cutscenes from several different characters, and just uploaded them to YouTube. Didn't expect anyone to ever watch them, it was just for my own personal use. But along the way, of course, I had to buy some recording equipment and stuff as well. So a couple years later, just as kind of, for fun, I recorded myself playing Amnesia: The Dark Descent, as pretty much everyone who's done YouTube ever has done. And I put it to my Facebook group, just like the Water Monster scene, just kind of for fun, just give my friends a laugh. And that was all that was really going to come out of it. But I got some really good responses from my friends, and they said, this is really amusing. Actually, we enjoy watching you play the entire game. I'm like, really? The entire thing? I was like, sure. I'm like, I can do that. I can just put it on YouTube. And they're like, you should do it. I'm like, fine. All right. Why not? So I recorded myself playing Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and uploaded everything to YouTube. And along the way, what I discovered is that it actually is a really fun way of playing a game, especially a scary game when you're already trying to cope with the environment and all the horror elements. And talking to yourself is kind of a natural thing to do, just kind of relieve tension. So that was a really fun way of playing a game. I enjoyed it, and I thought, all right, I'll keep doing this. And then I started playing Tomb Raider, then I started playing SimCity. And it just kind of branched out from there into what you have now. I never expected it to grow anywhere near as big as it did. You know, you told me 5 years ago, I would have been like, you're nuts. But I'm really blessed that it's grown the way it has, that people have been responsive, and I've had a lot of fun along the way.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. He did it just for the lulz. He didn't do it because he had a business plan. He didn't do it for anything else. He just wanted to just goof around.
I wanted a hobby. That's all that I wanted. I'd watched people play games on YouTube for years, and, you know, when I discovered this was something I enjoyed and I could spend a lot of my time doing, I thought, hey, I found a hobby. Little did I know I could monetize it later.
Blessed you are, Lord Pravus.
Blessed indeed.
Since my videos are still not monetizable, unfortunately.
Ah, you'll get there.
I'll get there eventually. I still have one video that got a shed load of views. It's in the thousands in there.
Hey, good. Good for you.
But, well, what can you do? I have no idea how everybody saw it. I don't care, but whatever. This is not about me.
Yeah, no, it's fine, though. I mean, like, don't get discouraged. Like, it takes years to get to any reasonable amount of size. You know, it took me, what, 3-4 years of practically no views until somehow I just accidentally hit it big. You know, it just takes time. You build it up slowly, methodically, and then, if you're lucky, the internet decides it likes something, and you get showered with praise.
Amen, my lord. Amen. Okay, so I'm gonna supplement this a little bit by saying that Pravus here, he does have a huge following, especially on Discord, which is the platform that we are using right now. He has a gigantic fan club, of which I am a part of course. And boy, oh boy, was everybody excited when I posted in one of the general chat channels that I am working on a collaboration with their Lord and Savior Pravus. They are very excited to see what collaboration this is. So
well, hopefully we do not disappoint.
Let's hope so. So, let's go back to the questions. Question number 2 is actually more about your time away from YouTube. What kinds of games do you like to play when you are not recording on your free time to, to relax?
Well, if I can play a game in my free time, it's usually the same type of game you already will see on the channel. I do try to keep my content on YouTube consistent with the type of games that I am genuinely interested in, and that I would be willing to play even without an audience. And I do that primarily so that, my thought being that if I am not enthusiastic about the process or about the game, it's not going to show in the videos, and that will kind of make it less enjoyable for other people. So I do try to stick to that type of content. So, for example, lately, I was doing a research video for They Are Billions, the anticipation of recording a steamed video for that. And I found that I really enjoyed the game, and I've actually played several extra hours in my own free time just because I enjoyed it that much. You'll find things like that happen quite often for me, is I'll do research streams for games, find something I really enjoy, and then I'll just keep playing it for a few hours. Now, that being said, something that I have learned as my YouTube career has grown is that I don't really get to play games for fun anymore. Part of that is a time commitment, right? So I'm working a full-time job, and I have to be recording for this channel a good 11 videos a week. That takes quite a bit of time. So I don't always have time to play games to relax. But even if I did have time, there is a psychological element that kind of messes that up. There's like this nagging part of you that is always thinking, I'm already playing this game. I should be recording it and sharing it on the internet. And it gets a little bit frustrating, honestly. I think in the past 3 months, I have only played one game that I did not share online, and that was Destiny 2. So not even that great, So yeah, it's a little sad. I don't get to play games just for fun anymore, not as often as I used to. But when I do, it's oftentimes the same type of games you're going to see online.
I'm sorry, I have to laugh.
No, I mean it is laughable. Like if you had told me a few years ago, like, hey, you can become a professional gamer, and guess what? You will stop playing games. I wouldn't like you're crazy. That's like that defeats the whole point. But it's totally what happens. Well, gaming becomes a part of work, and it's not really as much of a relaxation method as it was before.
Oh, I completely understand. Obviously, I am a gaming channel. I run a gaming channel. I know what you're talking about.
You get the pain.
Literally, I
have to record.
Exactly. I play XCOM. I have to record it. I'm playing Theo 2. I have to record this. This was cool. I'm playing Stonehearth. I was playing Stonehearth a couple hours ago. And I'm going like, I need a better processor so I can actually record this stuff. Because all this stuff only happens to me. Because trust me, I've seen a lot of channels that play Stonehearth, Conflict Nerd included, one of my favorite channels for Stonehearth, and stuff that happens to him doesn't happen to me, but stupid stuff that should never happen in the game happens to me.
Well, that sounds.
And I'm going like, why am I not recording? Oh, that's right, I don't have a good processor for this. Darn it. Okay, enough rambling. I'm rambling again. I am so sorry. Okay. Question number 3 would be, since you've been saying in retrospect that if I would have told you a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that your channel was going to be a, not major, but a very significant gaming channel on YouTube.
Oh, not major.
Not major yet.
No, I guess not.
Not yet. You're a medium channel. I'm a small-time backwater channel. Thank you very much. But I am very proud of it. I have 60-something videos, I have 22 subs, and I am happy with it. Anyway, you've been saying that if I would have told you this a couple years ago, you would have gone, you are an idiot, most likely. So,
delusional fool, yes.
Thank you very much. So, with that in mind, what would you like your channel to become in the next few years? Or what do you envision it becoming in the next couple years?
Well, envisioning, I don't know if I'm the best person to ask, only because I would never have been right if you had asked me a while ago. I'm not good at predicting this sort of thing, so I don't know.
Okay, then let's change it then. Let's re-record that part. Instead of envision, what would you like it to become?
All right, what would I like it to become? Well, obviously, from a personal note, as far as like finances and a business strategy, I'd like to grow as large as possible. The more people there, the better. So growth is great. However, one thing I am really blessed with in this channel is, I think, a really strong, mature, and laid-back community. You compare my particular community on YouTube and in Discord with a lot of other YouTubers out there. And I find that there's a lot more toxicity and negativity and criticism in this group. Not to say that there's never any criticism, especially if I deserve it, but this group generally tends to receive what I work on pretty well. They listen to me, you know, in good faith. If I make a mistake, they'll call me out on it, but usually not too mean. It's just good people who like to have fun. I like it a lot. And that tends to be harder to maintain the larger your channel gets. So if I could say what I'd like it to be, I'd like it to become a large channel that still maintains a small channel atmosphere, if that makes any sense.
Well, to me it does.
Yeah, I mean, the larger the channels grow, the more YouTube has a tendency to recommend your videos to people who otherwise would never have been drawn to your content in the first place, who don't kind of naturally fit in with that community and the atmosphere that's been set. And that's probably my greatest fear, is that as this channel grows, it's going to become less and less recognizable, and it's going to become more and more of a grind. Right now, we're in a bit of a sweet spot where I can put out some pretty consistent content and then go and interact with people either in the comment section or more often here in Discord. And I know most of the people that I'm talking to, or at least I've had good interactions with them so far. But if I ever reach a point where I'm just completely overwhelmed by a bunch of people I don't know who are just, you know, yelling at me for every mistake I make, realistically, what's probably going to happen is I'm just going to retreat to myself, keep throwing content out there, enjoy the business profits, and then really not feel connected to this community anymore. And that scares me a little bit. So I'm trying really hard to avoid that. I'm not sure how you do it yet, but I'm trying.
Well, you do say at the beginning of most of your series, because I do watch most of your videos and most of your series, specifically your CK2 and Hoi 4 videos, you do say it when you start a season or a specific run. I am not a professional player of this game, of neither of them.
Professional in the sense that it's a profession, but not professional in the sense I am by no means an expert.
Exactly. You're not an expert in those games, so you will make mistakes, and you do say it at the beginning of your series. Okay. Number 4. We kind of already touched foot on this already, but this is a little bit more of an in-depth question. What kind of following do you have on social media? By social media, let me elaborate. You already have a fan club in Discord, which I have mentioned plenty of times, and you have yourself. And you said that on Facebook many people follow you, but besides that, what kind of social following do you have?
Well, actually, when I say that people follow me on Facebook, I don't actually have a Facebook page. That was strictly my own personal Facebook page, you know, not Pravus, my actual self, to my actual friends back then. Really, Discord and YouTube are pretty much it as far as a social media following. I'm not really a big fan of social media in general. I very rarely use Facebook. I have stayed off things like Instagram and Twitter, like it's the plague that it is. And as a result, my social media following is pretty darn small, and I like it that way. There's a lot of different reasons I don't much care for social media. I won't go into that because that'll be a long-winded ramble, but yeah, no Facebook, definitely no Twitter, and really no intention of doing that in the future unless I find a really compelling reason to do so.
Well, you do have a huge fan following here on Discord, might I add.
Yes. But even then, I didn't put together this channel. This was a fan channel that was put together by ArkAngel, and he's owned and operated this thing, and I've, you know, tried to assist, but mostly I'm just a participant who's enjoying, you know, the chance to interact with my fans. I don't manage this at all. So, you know, even that's not a good example of me trying to create some sort of a social media following.
And obviously, you do have your couple thousand subscribers on YouTube, and people...
A couple hundred, yeah.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean, yeah, it's a good couple 100,000, but again, like, it's difficult to say that this is something I've even tried to cultivate as a social media following, because, again, I still operate this channel as if it was a small YouTube channel. I just keep putting out content, and if people like it, awesome, and I'm just happy to have that. It's not something I've really tried to say, all right, what can get me a lot more subscribers and a lot more views, and how do I grow it into this big, multi-100,000 subscriber channel? It's not something I think about. So even then, it's not even me trying to cultivate it. It's just sort of what happened naturally there. And I don't want it. I don't want to try to grow it, because then I can't, it's not organic, and it's not going to feel like an extension of my personality and, you know, who I am.
Well, there you go, folks. Humble to the end.
Is it the end?
Not yet. Not yet.
I
You wish.
please.
You
You
wish.
know something I don't.
Of course I do. I'm the interviewer here. Duh. I'm just kidding now. Okay. I swear this is probably the last question. Probably. Okay. You are a very paradox-focused YouTuber. Am I correct?
That's been a pretty strong focus, yes.
Even though you do, oh my god. You do other videos besides those, specifically your Steam series, and you also have, I believe, a series about Minecraft, correct?
That is, yes, those do exist. I have occasionally played some various adventure games as well, like Subnautica or something along those lines. But even bigger than any of the Paradox games, Plague Inc. is the game that really put my channel on the map.
Oh,
It's an
yeah.
ongoing series. So yeah.
You do find a new scenario every now and then that does pique your fancy, and you just go, this is the one that's going on YouTube.
I mean, 3 a week. So yeah, I always find something. There's a lot out there.
By the way, I love the Cult of Pravus one, even though it was kind of weird.
I mean, it's weird, of course, but that's just a good descriptor for the channel in general. So
Point taken. Even though it does need to be a little bit updated for certain things, I imagine.
maybe.
Okay, anyway, my question now would be, what new games do you want to feature on your channel? Specifically ones that you would, obviously you just said that you would love to play They Are Billions. I could wholeheartedly say yes please, because I do play that game and I love it, even though I lose every 5 seconds, but well, that's not the point. But besides Plague Inc. and besides all these other games that you already have on your channel, plus this They Are Billions that you are considering, what other games would you like to play on this channel?
Well, the fun thing about talking about the future is that I don't always know what's coming down the pipeline, because developers are always coming out with new things, and sometimes I don't even know about a game that I really want to play until it's already. But as far as some stuff that I am tracking currently, what I'd like to do in 2019 is kind of branch out the content to diversify a little bit more. Not like anything, crazy. I'm not looking to play The Sims or Stardew Valley or anything per se, but games like Planet Coaster, for example, is a good, more casual business simulator that'd be really quite fun to play. I'd like to see something like Planet Coaster added on there. I'd like to try jumping into a couple of adventure games, such as Fallout. People have always been asking me to play Fallout, and I've never really been able to justify the time commitments to a game like that, but that would be a fun thing to do. I'd like to kind of branch away from the Paradox games, just a little bit. One, to diversify, because I think it's a good business strategy that helps grow the channel, but two, because, at some point you get burned out playing the same types of games over and over again, and you want to try out new things.
Indeed.
The problem is, if you are being honest about your business strategies on YouTube, is you are actively decentivized to try out new content. YouTube really rewards people who kind of grind out the kind of content that your subscribers can expect and never really deviate. If you ever go far off the reservation and get only a few hundred views instead of a few thousand, well, congratulations, YouTube's algorithm takes things very differently. So I've had to be very cautious about branching out in the past and stick with games that really fit with the same type of genre, like a Paradox game, like a strategy game. That's why you'll see things like Frostpunk, for example, which is a fantastic game and I love it, but it still fits this strategy theme that you already can expect on this channel. They Are Billions will fit that quite well. Minecraft was a weird deviation that I did that has actually been really fun, because I think I found a happy medium of still making it technical and kind of strategic while also telling a story and having some fun with it. I'd like to be able to do more things like that. I can't tell you exactly which games it's going to be, but that's sort of the direction that I would like to be able to take the channel in the future. But I have to test the waters and sort of see how my audience responds.
Okay, so because you did answer the question perfectly, but what kind of game specifically is what I'm looking for here? What kind of game specifically would you say, yes, this game would fit?
Games that would fit. Okay, games that would fit that I definitely
besides
see myself doing in the
Frostpunk and besides They Are Billions, please.
Sure. Okay, so I've already done this once on the channel, but I'd like to see it come back. RimWorld, I think, is a great game that kind of deviates a bit from the typical content you'd see, but is close enough that I think it would appeal to the same type of an audience. That would be really fun. Planet Coaster is another very good example of something. To be a bit more wacky, maybe a game like Dungeons 3 could be kind of fun. You know, that's a dungeon simulator, and it's got a good humorous element to it. I don't know what the copyright rules are yet, so I won't commit to that, but that'd be something fun I'm looking at.
Well, personally, I wanted to record that, so yes, I actually own it. I already passed the game all the way to the end. It was a hilarious game. It's a great game, though, but I didn't dare record it because I sent an email to the developer and they never got back to me about the copyrights, and I went, I'm not getting a flag. Thank you.
Well, that is frustrating. And, you know, on that note, actually continuing your question while also tying into that, so Rome Total War is a game that I've been wanting to do for a couple of months here.
Wow.
But I am still actively waiting for the developers to get back to me about a licenseship agreement to do a Total War game. I have to hear back from Creative Assembly and Sega, and sometimes they could be very protective. They've talked to me about doing their games in the past. We'll see what they say this time, but that's a game that I'd like to play.
Rome would be good.
Upcoming games that I would have been wanting to do for forever would be Bannerlord, for example. Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. That's a game that everyone has been looking forward to for a very long time, and it's completely different from everything you've seen on this channel, but I really, really want to play it. So when that comes out, you better believe I'm going to play the crud out of that.
And I will be one of the first people, along with ArkAngel, to be watching that.
Well, wonderful. I guess I can count on you guys at least. So,
because
yeah, I mean, those
I love those games.
I mean, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, yeah, it's exactly what you think it is. Maybe Fallout New Vegas is something I could see myself doing at some point in the future. Empire at War is another strategy game, a Star Wars-based one that I could really enjoy as long as I can get around the music copyright.
That's gonna be hard.
Yeah, really hard. One thing that I'm looking forward to doing very soon, and maybe starting next week. Nintendo recently opened up their copyright quite a bit, and I actually can now play some of my old childhood favorite games, such as The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past on the channel. And does it fit this channel at all as far as what I've built? Not really, but I don't care, because this whole channel is about playing the stuff that interests me. And nostalgia games like The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past absolutely is something I will enjoy. Even if the views are terrible, I'll still be happy to have played it. So you can expect something like that on the in the future as well.
Well, Zelda's a great game, so why not?
It's amazing. It's one of the best games ever made.
Thank you. I totally agree. So, one last question. This one was just off the top of my head.
All right.
Literally sorry. I'm very sorry. But, obviously, you are a one-man team. You try and pump out as many videos as you can, as frequently as you can, while also juggling your personal life. You also have your job, your full-time job. So, obviously, I'm very sympathetic because I have basically the same friggin' problem. I juggle my social and my YouTube life along with my job. So, yeah, not easy. So, my question would be, if, this is a huge if, but an if nonetheless, if for some reason your channel grows enough to sustain yourself and your family, and you had the opportunity or the chance to actually quit your full-time job and just do YouTube, would you?
That's a tough question. The thing is, it's funny, people asked me that exact question like a year ago, back when I was just hitting 50,000 subscribers, and I didn't think it was going to grow at any time soon, so it was very much a hypothetical question, and like, I just kind of sloughed it off. Now I'm at about 250,000 in a year, and I will be tempted to say, it'll never happen, I'll never get to that level, but who freaking knows at this point? So maybe. So I really have to think for a second to answer that question. I think it would depend on just how reliable I thought this would be. I mean, the thing about YouTube, I don't think this is something that I could reasonably expect people to want to watch me for, like, let's say the next 20 years, right? Because the thing is, if I step away from my engineering career, that's a lot of time that I'm kind of taking off, and when YouTube eventually ceases to be a viable option for me, it'd be very difficult to step back into the career. So part of me is tempted to say, no, not really. I don't think I would step aside, because I want to continue developing that career in case something goes wrong, because YouTube's probably going to be a short-term thing. I don't want it to be, but I expect that to happen. At the same time, I can say that I've been extremely frustrated at my current career, and a lot of me just wants to say, screw it! I've got another job! I've got another source of income. I can survive off of this. Sayonara. And it'd be very tempting to do that. So it kind of would depend, I guess, on just how big we're talking. Say I got to 1 million subscribers. I don't think it'll ever happen, but say I did. I think at that point, sure, I could walk away. And I don't know what I would do afterwards, but I would like to think that that is large enough that I could sustain myself for a long time, and if I'm smart with how I use my money and stuff, maybe I can keep myself going and kind of retire early, so to speak, and just continue living off of that for as long as I can. But we're a long ways off at this point. It still feels very much like a hypothetical to me. So, yeah, right now I'd be inclined to say no, but crazy things have happened. Maybe.
Well, there you go. I completely understand, because obviously my career is not the best ever, considering that I am personally a trained chef with a associate's degree in regional and international cuisine.
Ooh.
But obviously here where I live, by the way, I live in Puerto Rico, so here the minimum wage for a cook is $7.25, which, if you sum it up to the cost of life here on this tiny little hellhole of an island I call home, and I'm sorry to say it because I love my home, I love this island, but it's a hellhole at the moment. Not the point. Point is that if you take into consideration that salary versus the cost of living, you can't live here on a $7.25 wage an hour, and different workhorses and everything, different companies, they won't hire you for higher than that. The most that you're looking at is maybe a quarter a year if you're lucky. So obviously that's the first time I started doing numbers, and I went like, maybe I could do YouTube. That's my personal story. But obviously I've been trying to branch out as much as possible and find other little jobs that I can do. I have one. I will not say what it is because it could be a copyright for me, so I'm gonna shut my mouth.
Okay.
It could be a copyright, so I don't really care. Right now, obviously, I'm trying to do YouTube. I'm trying to record as many videos as I can, not helping. And of course, I'm trying to do my interview series, see if I can get some extra viewers, get maybe some subs. Have people actually, interested in my interview series.
Sure, totally understood. A lot of people, I've had a lot of people talk to me about wanting to start up YouTube channels for exactly that same sort of a reason. We even have, there's some kid who lives in my apartment complex who's apparently one of the top 100 Fortnite players in the world, and his father was coming to me asking if, what's involved in setting that sort of stuff up. That's the sort of thing I hear about all the time, is that kind of a story, people wanting to start that up. I will say, I think it's very difficult to grow a channel if it's not something you're already very enthusiastic about. I don't say this to discourage you at all. I'm sure you're quite enthusiastic. My point is, like, if you're not putting your heart and soul into it, I think people, the interpretation that I've gotten out of this is that people don't feel connected to the creator, and they don't feel like there's something genuine about it. That there's something kind of fake, and they're not drawn to something like that. So, as long as you love what you do, and you're enjoying making these interviews and stuff like that, I think that, as time goes on, your enthusiasm will show, and you'll start picking up a following. It takes time, but if you're slow and diligent about it, you can get there. I did.
You're the best example, obviously.
I don't know about the best.
One of them.
Example, yeah.
One of them. The other person that I was talking to you about, I was talking to you about Morjax over at Morjax Plays channel.
Sure.
He's a small YouTuber too, but he's been constantly trying to grow his channel, and it's going well for him. And I actually am talking to him about scheduling an interview with him too. So hopefully he'll say yes, and we can get a little insight into that one too. So you never know.
Perfect segue into next time in the interview series.
Exactly. Well, with that, I think that I've held you up enough. I know that you just basically got off work a couple hours ago, and I am very sorry for scheduling an interview so close to your off time.
Not a problem at all.
Well, Pravus, thank you very much for the interview. I will be posting this for all my viewers, and yours, of course, on my own channel, ArkAngel Gaming. I will put some links to some of Pravus's best series, in my opinion, of course, I have already talked with him about which videos would be best, and he has agreed with my choices. So I will link them in the description below. Remember, I will also put a link to his channel on the description, so just go over there if you haven't subscribed already, and subscribe to him. Subscribe to me, of course, too, please. Turn on the notification bell to know each time that I upload, and do the same for Pravus, because his content is phenomenal, in my personal humble opinion, not just because he's right there listening to me.
Oh, that's the only reason why. We all know it.
Hey!
You feel obligated. No, it's fine.
Nah.
By all means, do subscribe, hit that notify bell.
Alright guys, well, that'll be it for me. I will be talking with Pravus off camera for a little bit more, if he doesn't have a problem with it, about some other details. And until next time, everybody, thank you for watching my videos, and happy gaming. Bye-bye. Say bye, Pravus.
Bye-bye.